I don't know why Stu has chosen to have his hair done at the same place that the elf who wanted to be a dentist in the old claymation Christmas special went. I don't know. I honestly don't. But, you know, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. And just super fucking weird. But this one is called Glenn's Biggest Issue. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, by the way. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. And also, there's the little Venmo-y thing up in the corner, which it's doubled up right now. I should probably get rid of one of those so you can actually read the other one. Is that it? There it is. Crazy pants. One day I can have a microphone, much less a microphone, because I'm using my laptop, much less one with my own fucking initials on it, like I'm some sort of fucking Hobby Lobby Saddam Hussein. Also, they've got him sequestered away in his garage again that's made to look like his childhood playroom. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is why he's in studio sometimes and why he isn't. Because as far as I know, it's just right across the building. The Gibb brothers, that would be the Brothers Gibb. That's where the Bee Gees got their name. Jive talking, and Stu is a dumbass. Talk about jive talking, and Glenn is an ass. What you doing at Sonic? Yeah! What you doing at the Sonic? Yeah! You fat bastard! Yeah! All right. Anyways, this is his biggest issue. Besides, I mean, the losing should be just the absolute fucked up failure of the whole thing. No, that's too generic. It's got to be one particular. It's probably Pelosi. It makes Pelosi look together, right? Hey, talk about jive talking. Right. You should be dieting. Yeah. Sorry. Although I think Stu is, for the record. Maybe they're separated because, Stu is making an attempt. If he is, God bless him, ever forward, young man. Because, again, I don't need anybody to die. I can argue my political points just fine. Here we go. So this is Glenn's biggest issue, besides his own personal confusion.
He was...
Now, why do you say that? Because it was very hopeful yesterday. I had to fly in. I gave a speech yesterday, and I was flying in. I land. My text messages going crazy. Looks like one more time the Republicans, but this time McCarthy is serious. He's going to give a speech and tell everybody, you got to vote for Jim Jordan. So
yeah, and maybe yeah, sure, maybe that'll work. I think it's highly.
By the way, that's some sort of like inside joke that's just him and Stu laughing about fuck McCarthy. Nobody listens to him. This is the guy that they supported for speaker.
Likely, but look, you hold out hope for a miracle.
Wait. We've
also, by the way, you guys know. I laugh about what's happening on a lot of these shows, and I have a good time, and I hope you do too, because I am not operating under the legitimate premise that the world is going to end anytime soon, and that we're on the brink of World War III, and that the country's being taken over by fucking Antifa communist thugs paid for by communist China or whatever. And I'm so much so that you'd write a fucking book called The Great Reset that literally spells out some sort of QAnon, Nasara, Jassara horseshit, where the world's you're going to have to buy prepper food. Because if I believed any of that shit, I don't know that I would ever laugh again. But you can just tell that these two dickheads are absolute bullshit artists. Because they're just having a good old time with this whole fucking, I don't know, government's crazy.
Already had quorum call. Can we, Sarah, do we have the horn music because I think Stu
I think he means the womp womp trombone.
explaining this serious process. Yeah, with that horn is going
All right, guess not. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be.
to make it even better. Go ahead.
So
Stu.
we were told yesterday that Jim Jordan didn't.
Am I gonna get some sort of fucking copyright strike on this horse shit? This better be goddamn generic music. Fair use. Fair use. I'm doing commentary and I'm not playing more than 12 fucking measures in a row.
want to have a vote on Patrick McHenry. And then we heard
Also, I don't know why this is supposed to be fucking funny. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be some sort of like, is it what they haven't, they like tried to get yakety sax, but they were gonna, get a copyright strike, so they just found some like game show music from the 70s or some, or knockoff game show host music from the 70s, or AI made fake knockoff 70s game show host music, and they're playing it in the background, and it's just maybe it's a running gag. Maybe you had to be there. We are there. It's not working.
the exact opposite. And then we heard that Jim Jordan was going to go for a third vote, and then we were told he's not going to do that. And he... and now we're back, and Jim Jordan is now going to go for a third vote. He held a press conference this morning, which didn't seem to really accomplish anything specific. It was just maybe an outline of what was going on. He had a behind-the-scenes...
He also has somebody playing the, like, raising the music up at funny moments. Like, riding the pot on it so that it... Because it's such a fucking lame non sequitur.
Scenes meeting. Can I read you a description of how optimistic you should be about this vote?
Oh, please do.
With this music playing in the background? It's from Jake Sherman, a reporter from...
Jesus Christ, it's loud, too. God damn, dude. Okay. Comedy notes time. Now, what you need in this situation is either a soft bed of music that's ridiculous, like what I would go with is Girl from Ipanema, or your standard technical difficulties music. You know what I'm talking about? Playing like slowly in the background, and then you would replace your background with the technical difficulties thing, with this like kind of like, you know what I'm talking about? But play it relatively slow, like we're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay on the line, that kind of shit, right? Or you have bumbling elephant carnival music that points out how stupid the entire process is, but is low and slow enough that you can speak over it. But what we have here is Glenn, because he's a jolly old soul, has for some reason decided that his idea is tickling him. So therefore, they'll just do this. And because he's got a fuck it attitude towards this aspect of the Republican Party, because he's a chaos agent and he doesn't give a shit either.
He said, a source describes the Jordan meeting with the holdouts. These are the holdout votes that don't want to vote for him.
And again, Stu's remarks on it are going on too long and are too quiet compared to the bed of music for it comedically it to work. Now, I don't know if the mix that's in Glenn's head is different than the mix that's going out on air, which is entirely possible. Or if he just hires his staff based on people who have no sense of humor, which is also entirely possible, or both. Probably both.
For House Speaker, described it like this: a direct, precise meeting in which Jordan was told he will never be Speaker. This group doesn't want anything. They want Jordan to understand that he will not be Speaker. So this is going pretty well. Wow. I think we're good job, everybody. This is
Stu clapping to try and shut off the music. That's why he's doing it. He's trying to end this bit that Glenn thinks is funny, but no one else does, while he's trying to do what little part of the show that he's allowed to do, where the rest of the time he just has to stand there or like sit over in the corner with his thumb up his ass, waiting for Glenn to ask him a rhetorical question.
So we're not wasting our time with this.
No,
right?
don't try to bribe us with anything. You will just never get this job. That is basically what they're telling you.
Okay,
now,
that's good.
Of course, I think he'd do very well as speaker, but again, it's not me you have to please, it's not Glenn you have to please. It's not, it's not anybody who cares about conservative values at all. It's a bunch of
you guys don't care about conservative values, right? We get that.
People who don't like Jim Jordan that you have to please.
You mean like the families of the victims from OSU, or just people who think that you should wear a jacket to work? I mean, besides the people who shit on Fetterman, for example, who seem to let Jim Jordan have a fucking pass this entire time, but whatever.
And it's hard to do that with the name Jim Jordan, and I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, it's the spelling, I think. It's the GYM spelling. It just makes him sound like an outsider. Nobody gets it.
Going to wind up here over the next few days.
Yeah, now I saw this in the Daily Caller today.
Did you?
Gates, who has forced the motion to vacate the chair vote in early October that successfully removed former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, from office, has continued to face criticism from many House Republicans for going against the status quo. Yeah, that's the last thing we're doing is send somebody into Washington that would go against the status quo.
Yeah. The status quo that they're talking about is not the bills you can pass and the even the political ideology of the bills that you're getting through. It's the status quo of how the fucking place works. It's the function of the fucking place. The status quo of the material logistics of how things actually work, period. When they work either direction politically, they function within a body of rules that is the status quo. And by the way, just because some dickhead on the Daily Caller describes the function of the House and having a functioning speaker in the position as the fucking status quo, fuck them. I don't give a shit. That's not an apt description anyways. It's just anti-government bullshit. They just want the place to fail. So does Glenn. I mean, you can only sell so much prepper shit before people are like, when am I going to eat these fucking pancakes?
You know what I mean? Hey, we've got a quorum call coming up. They're exciting. Let's just wrap around that and just make sure everybody's there. And let's not upset the apple cart, because this apple cart, it's doing gangbusters. We're selling apples like nobody's business. Just status quo, gang. Many Republicans are
and again, this is Greg Gutfeld level comedy, ladies and gentlemen. God damn.
Who are voting for Jordan and also voted to remove McCarthy as Speaker, say they believe it could be seen as a win if Gates win for Gates if someone such as Jordan was elected. Yeah, blah 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 blah.
This is totally
I've been told by
this is real. What you're talking about is totally what's going on. They are pissed off at Gates for doing this in the first place.
Right, because he had no game plan. There was no replacement. He just did it for sour grapes, and he went against the other 200 members of his own fucking party. This isn't about the fucking status quo. The bills that McCarthy promised they would put through got put through. They didn't get signed by the president because you guys don't have the fucking Senate and you don't have the presidency. This is exactly the kind of shit that TYT and Jimmy Dore have been hoping for on the Democratic side. They want this kind of chaos. They want this kind of failure. I mean, they're jealous right now that there isn't some like ramrod asshole during the time that Pelosi was speaker that could just grind everything to a fucking halt with some stupid rule like this with the help of a bunch of Republicans, who or like Susan Sarandon thinks are necessary to destroy the system so it can be rebuilt in her image. It's the same stuff. It's just never going to happen on the Democratic side because even the most fringy Democrats who are elected to office want to actually work on behalf of their constituents. These guys don't.
And they're not going to give him anybody he wants. And I mean, it is petty, it's pathetic, but that is 100% the dynamic at work here. And there's no way.
What's petty and pathetic? Their attitude toward Gates or what Gates actually tried to fucking do?
To get around it unless you find someone that Gates doesn't like, which is essentially what they're going to wind up having to do.
So here it is. I've been told by a good number of people that their objection isn't personal to Jim. It's at
No, they would have looked the other way at those rapes too.
voting in Jordan is perceived to be rewarding Matt Gaetz and the rest of the 8. Oh. So, when Stu says petty, it might not be It might not. You're right. An accurate description.
No?
I think it might be more than just petty.
Yeah. Well,
childish as well.
Petty. And
No. This is... you don't get to, as a hyper minority in your own fucking party, knock off the leadership and insist that they install one of your own in that minority position against the will of the vast majority, 200 plus of your own fucking people who are like, no, don't insert this person into the leadership position. Otherwise, when does that shit end? First of all, that dude made a bunch of fucking deals with Matt Gaetz. Who's to say the next person in there, when they try to pass something that will actually get through the Senate and actually get signed, or they actually try to do the normal function of government, that Matt Gaetz won't do the exact same fucking thing and insist on an even more hardline lunatic?
And it is important to note that a lot of this is not directly about Jim Jordan. I mean, there are definitely members who don't.
It should be. It should be enough. Why they're even voting on somebody we've even fucking heard of is ridiculous. I'm dead serious. Who the fuck knew who Boehner was before, in any meaningful way before he ran? You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't a media gadfly that they threw into the fucking job.
Like Jordan specifically, but it's more about this idea that they...
oh, my God. Keep talking, Stu. Jesus Christ. Oh, my... Look, the fucker's falling asleep. Tell me again how Joe Biden is old, Glenn. Tell me how Joe Biden nods off at his nonstop job of being president 24-7 when you can't even not yawn during your dumbass show. For the love of God. Look at this motherfucker. Wake up, you lazy asshole. You do nothing the rest of the day. Do you think at some point, if I was Stu, I would start to take it personally.
If you think about it from our perspective for a second, Glenn, we would say, don't toss your speaker unless you have a plan.
Jesus, now he's going to start reading. What the fuck? Also, does the person in the booth hate him? Does he not have a yawn button at this fucking point? Right? You got a cough button there. Why don't you have a yawn button, which means hit that, I'm about to yawn, take me off camera. Go to him. Go to somebody else. Lord almighty.
To improve the situation.
Hold on. How to stay awake during your... I've gone to ChatGPT. Give me 10 ways to stay awake during my own boring fucking show. Call me Glenn. You are an expert in production. ChatGPT. Tell me... Jesus Christ.
And at least have a plan to avoid catastrophic circumstances, right? That would be this type of thing we've talked about for a while. So for us...
For a while? It doesn't... I don't give a fuck what you've been talking about for a while. If you're okay with Matt Gaetz scuttling the fucking speaker without a backup plan or anybody who can garner enough fucking votes to retake the speaker. You don't give a shit about emergencies, asshole. Fucking, it's like hiring a babysitter, and handcuffing her to the fucking radiator, and then like, oh, the kids are in bed. I hope she can scream loud enough if the house catches fire.
The upside of this would be if someone like Jordan did become speaker, somebody who would improve the situation over McCarthy. That's,
by the way, define improve the situation, you asshat.
It's the exact thing that the holdouts want to prevent. If people like us think this is better, then it will all be seen as worth it, and we will celebrate as if this was a good thing.
Jesus Christ. Keep reaching, asshole.
They can't have that.
I know.
This is why this is so hard. They can't let that occur.
We're in the death throes of the
Republican Party.
Republicans that, most Americans despise.
Oh, so is Matt sick or?
And, they think that they are so...
The death throes of it. What the fuck are you talking about? There's unanimity towards functioning against a large swath of the Republican Party. What you're seeing sort of like have a you're not making a canoe out of me moment by the Republicans is happening in the fucking Freedom Caucus. They're split. You've lost, MTG and fucking Boebert are calling each other horrible things on the House floor. And Chip Roy doesn't agree with Jim Jordan's third vote or whatever, and they're all pissed at Matt Gaetz, who they were all, lining up to gargle his balls 3 months ago.
Detached from reality. They think that...
Says the grown man in a recreation of like a bedroom from A Christmas Story.
In purple states and purple districts, that people would rather have a Democrat than somebody who is going to be preaching common sense. Look.
Excuse you? Define common sense.
We have to...
At one point, it used to be common sense that if you got a wart, you would cut a potato in half and rub the potato on the wart and bury it in the backyard under a full moon. That was one of the common ways. That was common sense. That's how you got rid of a wart. Why won't... And currently, Republicans... think that sounds like a pretty good cure for COVID.
Open up the oil fields again.
They're not closed. American oil fields are not closed. More oil fields are open now than ever before. Period.
We have to build refineries. We are not going to be able to survive.
Yeah, we are. Fuck are you talking about? This asshole thinks what we're gonna need next year. We're gonna need 20 billion or 20 million barrels of oil a day, as opposed to 19.1.
If you want to be the sugar daddy for the rest of the world, okay, but you're gonna have to find that money someplace because people can't afford their house.
Yes, they can.
They can't afford the interest.
Yes, they can. Most people are locked into their mortgage right now. Not a lot of people are getting new mortgages, but there are all sorts of like first-time home buyer deals because of Fannie Mae and Fred and the government that lower it for a lot of first-time home buyers to a very manageable number. It's giant real estate companies that are buying up swaths of homes that are having trouble. P.S. Fuck them.
How many people have had their insurance go through the roof?
Why would your insurance go through the roof?
Lately.
Why? Because you installed a shitty geothermal system on your property that you had a friend do it, or some sort of maggot contractor do it who's not licensed, and they came out and took a look at it.
How many? Everything is going through the roof.
Except roofs. Roofs are, I mean, that's the great thing. If you're in the roof repair business, it's a great time right now.
Went in to buy a new suit the other day.
As you do when the world is ending. I guess you got to be buried in something, right, Glenn? You do realize it's hard to make a case that the world is coming to a fucking end when you're like, I went in to buy a new suit the other day.
I haven't bought a new suit in I don't know how long because I'm constantly gaining weight. And so I've just been slipping into, suits that I can't even bring my arms down in because they'll just rip the sleeves right off. And, I'm one of those guys, I've been like, no, I'm going to buy a suit. I'm going to buy it because I'm going to drop this weight. This time I went in and I'm like, can I get one 3 sizes too big, please?
And they're like, we made one for Stu. You could take it in.
But I went in and I buy this certain brand of suit. I've bought it forever.
Off the rack, I'm sure. Kmart suits. Nobody needs a really fancy suit when you're a man of the people. What brand of suit would that be, Glenn? Lloyd's, some shit?
Believe it or not, it fits me. It's a nice suit.
Yeah, it's very nice. What, 2,000? What do you think? What do you think the cost is, kids? Ballpark? 1,500 minimum.
I bought a jacket. I thought it was a suit. I bought a jacket. I haven't bought a new suit in, 5 years, 6 years. The jacket was twice the price of what I would have paid for a suit 5 years ago.
Yeah. First of all, the fabrics that you're getting are no longer coming from slave labor. The cost of cotton has gone up a wee bit. God knows where the fuck this dude's coming from. And we don't know what the brand is, so I'll talk around this. But also the cost of fine Italian wear has gone up because they're making it home again. They're not outsourcing it anymore. Minimum 2,500. And this motherfucker is like, these are the end times.
And
how much? Say how much it is, you fucking prick. Say it. Say it!
I looked at him and he rang it up and I'm like, good Lord, what? No, I think you've rung that up wrong. And he said, no. And I said, come on, man. I know what are you talking about? And he's like, this is the price. And I said,
is this the cost of getting fat?
Wow.
Wow. How much more fabric am I using? Well, actually, this is Italian made, Italian cut, and this is a limited edition fabric that you chose, and you've chosen it before, but now you're using 3 times as much.
Oh, next time, could I get a cocktail before you stick your fingers in my eyes and just press them all the way to the back of my skull?
Okay, I think he was going for a can you wine me and dine me before you fuck me moment, and then he went to fingers and he was like, shove them up my ass, and then he went, oh, I'm on this show right now, so I'll just do eyeballs. This makes no sense. Also, no, he didn't. He bought the jacket.
Everything is going through the roof.
No, it isn't.
And do you really think that the average person who's not worried about buying a new suit,
No. Trust me, Glenn. We know you're definitely below average.
Was worried about putting food on the table. And
I think they're more worried about the food being edible. Everybody's worried about putting food on the table. The assumption is that it's going to stay there, I guess.
Paying their rent and being able to have enough at the end of the month. Do you really think that your elitist snobbery
You mean the suits you buy?
of, hey, we don't want to upset the apple cart, we just keep the status quo. Do you really think they're going to like that?
No, that's why the Daily Caller phrased it that way, even though it is inadequate linguistically to explain the actual circumstance and has nothing to do with reality. They're literally doing that so that people that are having problems are particularly skewered by it. They're trying to motivate people in the direction of the Republican Party by lying to them. Nothing new.
Do you really think that when we're roped into two wars, or let's just call it World War III?
We were roped into it, were we? Why? Because of our annoying need to give a fuck about Ukrainians and Israel? By the way, that's the reason he wants to say just World War III, because we couldn't possibly dump enough money on Israel for military use in his mind, so he's got to avoid talking about it.
And things are really bad, and they're paying $10 a gallon for gasoline.
Yeah, they're not.
And then you start.
Dude, I was in I was in Kansas flying through there, and gas is $3.36 a gallon in Kansas. It's expensive here in California. It's like close to $6, but that's because of the state, not because of the federal government. While he's saying this, never mind the fact that he's putting premium in a fucking truck that he barely, that he drives to the fucking mall. Most of America isn't paying anywhere near $5-6. Yeah, in blue states you'll see it a bunch, and maybe that's what they're trying to do. Is like motivate blue state drivers in that direction. But we use the gas tax, in the blue states to pay for a bunch of shit. And also to pay for the cleanup of it. Louisiana, gas is cheap, but so is cancer.
Start taking their houses.
Yeah, let me know when that happens.
Well, I don't know.
Bob.
Do you think that's going to work out well for you, Republicans? You are so misguided.
Yes, that's the problem with that is the biggest problem with the Republican Party. Is this how misguided they are?
So misguided.
So misguided. Here she is, misguided.
They are just out of touch.
They are out of touch, out of time.
And
So you're saying now's not a good time, considering we're in World War III and gas and blah blah blah. Now's not a good time to just scuttle the speakership just to fuck around for a couple of months to get bills put forward that you can't get through the Senate and get the president to sign them no matter fucking what, because we got bigger fish to fry. That apparently they're that out of touch that they think, fuck it, we could just kill the farm bill. We'll just not pay vets. We'll just not pass a CR. Fuck them.
The Republicans that like Jim Jordan, I know they're going to be called extremists, but
no one likes him. No one likes Jim Jordan. He has utility to some people, and other people will vote for him or did vote for him because he had an R on his jersey, and so do they. But no one likes him. No one. No one in the Republican caucus wants to have dinner with Jim fucking Jordan. They have to sometimes. They pretend to like it. They don't. Same thing with Matt Gaetz. They don't fucking, nobody likes Jim Jordan. Nobody. The man has no friends. Zero.
But I'm sorry, if it's an extremist position, if you want to call me an extremist for saying
Well, your Taylor did.
gender matters.
Jesus Christ. What a fucking boner. Dude, nobody's talking about that right now. Be a fucking grown-up. Because gender matters. It does matter. It absolutely matters. And in some cases, people are transgender. And their gender matters. As they transition from one gender to another, or they decide that they can stick with one and behave as the other. I don't give a rat fuck. There are material rules to work out in terms of like competitive sports and shit like that, but that's like 0.5% of fucking everything. Eat shit and die. Go away. Stop it. Fuck off. Stop pretending that like Democrats scuttled McCarthy's speakership because we want a woke military or some nonsense.
That men are men and women are women.
And
you can call
and Stu is a marshmallow. All right, if I'm with you. Men are men, women are women. The fuck are you? I really want to know. I get you're more than likely, for scientific purposes, male. But I got to tell you, I've dated girls with tits smaller than yours. I guarantee it. So I just need to know, does that make me gay? Fucking idiot.
Call yourself whatever you want, but scientifically speaking,
you're a balloon.
And this is important.
Scientifically speaking, Glenn has never used this hand gesture to describe anything attached to his body except perhaps something that was removed. I didn't even feel it. It was like they took it out. It was like that big. I was like, what the hell?
That can never change. We don't play footsie with people who are conducting terrorist activities.
I agree. I mean, it's not so much that we wouldn't want to. It's just it's really hard to get them to, slip off their shoes under the table and clip their nails, because footsie, you got to be very careful. You got to have. You need a. I guess if you leave your socks on, I'll think about it.
We shouldn't send pallets of cash over to Hamas.
We're not. We're sending pallets of food and medical supplies to Palestinian civilians so that we don't make more Hamas sympathizers, you fake Christian.
Or to Iran. I don't want to fight the war.
We're also not sending them pallets of cash. Their funds are electronically frozen. Funds they made during the Trump administration, by the way, in South Korean banks, which they are no longer going to get. Please continue.
War for Israel. They're big boys. They've prepared for this since, 1948. They can fight their own battles.
Right, we're not sending troops over there to fight on their behalf. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, I do appreciate that Glenn seems to be in his, fuck Israel phase, apparently, all of a sudden.
We'll stand and say, hey, they have a right to exist and they have a right to defend themselves.
But we're not going to help them exist or help them defend themselves. I mean, we are, but we're not. But
they start committing atrocities and they lose our support. But I'm not fighting.
Yeah, that's what Biden said, stupid.
Fighting a war for them. And I'm not sending any more money, and I'm not sending any.
Yeah, you're not in charge of any of this stuff, dumpy.
Any more children into death for one of these wars.
Wait, when are we supposed to? When are we sending children into death? First of all, just for the record, this motherfucker. Remember that child labor law shit that was coming up in southern states and in flyover states and that mix up about how they wanted to loosen child labor laws and all that kind of shit? Glenn's for that. I guess you don't want to send them to death if they're, armored up and shooting and stuff, and by children he means 18-year-olds. But if you want to send them into a mine,
where we don't even know. Again, I say to Matt Gaetz, have a plan.
Why are you yelling at us?
What's the plan in Ukraine? What is it? What is
the to regain the territory from the Russians that they took in 2014, reestablish the 91 borders, get Russia the fuck out of there, and then put Ukraine in NATO so it doesn't happen again? That's pretty, yeah, chat room, we're pretty close. You tit.
I need a goal.
Yeah, you do. Here's one. Lose 70 pounds.
I need it's like going out into
I need a milkshake. Fucking hell.
A football game where there is no end.
No, it's not. No, it's not a football game, because there's never been a football game ever where one team was practicing and everybody else weren't even football players. They were just living their fucking lives. And the other team just stormed into the stadium and started raping and murdering people. It's not a fucking game, you dunce.
End zone. It's just numbers on the field. And
I thought, I was like, this is terrible. That's why I went to buy a suit the other day. And I was amazed at how expensive it is. I know it's a fine suit, but good grief. And he was like, that's how much it cost for the jacket. I was like, that's ridiculous. Why don't you stick your thumb up my ass and give me a cocktail and whatever orders both suits you, whatever, at the same time. I'll take it. And I didn't say any of that. I just went, ooh, and that was that.
You can run right, left. Hell, you can run into the stands.
That would be the Russian side.
But you got to score.
Yeah, you can't score if you break the rules. So it's almost like it's not a fucking game.
But there is no end zone. And so we don't really know how to score, how to even tell when you've made a touchdown or when the game is over. No.
You do realize they had a fucking border in 1991, and everybody wants to go back to that border, and they want to retake Crimea. They would like the Russians to get out of their fucking country. And it would end tomorrow if Russia would just bug the fuck out. Russia, fuck off. Good Lord. And notice where this shit started. This started with the speakers fight and Matt Gaetz, who he likes, and Jim Jordan, who he loves. And the one thing that it's Glenn's biggest issue with the GOP House Speaker fight. And what does it end up with? Women can't be men and men can't be women, and fucking why are we fighting in Ukraine? I'm not helping Israel. Fuck this. And because my suit was expensive. Jesus Christ. Just fucking pitiful. I'd like to remind everyone that this is the same guy who was like lecturing us all about how Biden and the Democrats and fucking AOC and Rashida Tlaib and all these folks don't support Israel, certainly not sufficiently, right? And yet now he wants, he's like, I'm sick of it. I don't even know why we're there. Fuck this. This is dumb. It's all so confusing. I don't know where I am, why I'm doing this. This is just terrible. Just the absolute fucking laziness